Oliver, a nonverbal autistic boy, lives with his parents, Sarah and Marty. He uses a smartphone to communicate with others and watches SpongeBob to distract himself from his parents' frequent arguments. He's living a seemingly normal life until one day, an unknown app pops up on his phone that'll change the entire family's lives. One night, after getting a glass of juice for himself, Oliver returns to his bed and finds a notification on his phone. It's for an app called Misunderstood Monsters. He tries to exit the app, but when that doesn't work, he swipes left to read the app's story. The story introduces a hunched creature called Larry, and as Oliver reads the story, the lights in his room start to flicker, and soon all the lights in his house start to go out one by one. Scared, Oliver turns on his phone light and looks around. He hears noises just outside his room, which makes him run to close his room door and drag various toys in front of it to prevent anyone from opening it. He gets back in his bed, waiting for someone or something to show up, and when it finally does, Oliver covers himself with his sheets and listens to the loud bangs on his door until something pushes it hard and the door opens. Oliver cries and finds Sarah trying to wake him up from the nightmare. He uses his phone to tell her someone is in their house, but Sarah reassures him that besides them, there's no one. The next morning, Sarah tells Marty about Oliver's tough night, but Marty, overwhelmed by work and trying to support the family, doesn't have time to deal with it. His long work hours cause stress at home and lead to arguments with Sarah about sharing responsibilities. The strain in their marriage becomes so severe that Marty decides to move out. At school, Oliver has his share of problems there, too. His biggest problem is named Byron, who feels jealous of Oliver because Oliver gets to use his phone during class while his was taken when he was found playing Fortnite. Byron decides if he doesn't get to keep his phone, then no one in class should, and lures Oliver into an open field behind the school with the help of another student. Oliver soon finds himself surrounded by Byron and two other students, who start mocking and bullying him for his condition. It's revealed Byron was once Oliver's friend, but their friendship ended because Oliver accidentally punched Byron, leading to a rift between them and their moms. Byron takes Oliver's phone and hurls it in the bushes before pushing him down and kicking him. The three run away while Oliver starts screaming and frantically searching for his phone, which he never finds. Sarah soon arrives and is horrified to find Oliver in such a state. She takes him to his speech therapist, who recommends Oliver needs friends and asks Sarah to help as it would be good for him to socialize and open up. That evening, while Marty is at work as a parking lot attendant, he finds a tablet in the lost and found, and just as he picks it up, the lights around him start flickering. He doesn't think much of it and starts fixing the light, completely unaware of an invisible entity standing outside the booth. That night, Marty returns home to collect his things and gives the tablet to Oliver as a replacement for his lost phone. Oliver immediately takes it to his room to charge it, and once charged, he starts playing with an app that's a children's version of Snapchat. As he's walking around his room, making faces at the camera, the app recognizes a face behind him, making Oliver turn around, but he sees no one. As Oliver continues to play with the tablet, he sees the face behind him again. This time he stops and stares at the face, and the face stares back. He quickly switches the tablet from selfie to camera mode to see if the face is indeed there, honing in on the closet, but to his dismay, it's not. The next morning, Oliver notices all the moving boxes are gone. He types in a question through his tablet asking if his dad has indeed moved out, intending for his mom Sarah to answer, but she doesn't hear. To Oliver's surprise, the tablet replies, "Yes," shocking Oliver. It doesn't stop there, and it then says, "Hello." Oliver asks who he is, and the tablet replies, "I am Larry." He says he wants to be Oliver's friend. Still shocked about what just happened, Oliver stares at the tablet while Sarah arrives and tells him she has invited Byron and two other kids for a sleepover. Unbeknownst to her, that these are the same kids and so-called friends who bullied him in the field. Oliver, however, hardly pays attention to what Sarah said and runs to hide the tablet in a closet in the living room before running into his room. It's the weekend, and Byron and the two other kids arrive at Oliver's house for the sleepover. The boys make their beds in the living room, and Oliver can't keep himself calm as he keeps staring at the closet, scared that Larry might show himself again. Hearing Oliver's groans, the boys can't sleep, so they decide to check the closet since Oliver has been staring at it. Believing Oliver has a secret stash of candy, Byron checks the closet, but Oliver rushes and grabs the tablet. The boys snatch it from him and start reading Larry's story, which states that Larry isn't from this world but another realm, and he watches through windows, which connects his realm to their world. It then goes on to say that they must read the whole story to turn those windows into doors. Suddenly, all the light bulbs in the room start bursting and the boys scream out of fear. But somehow Sarah sleeps through all of it. Left to fend for themselves, Oliver takes the tablet and switches on the video mode, which shows a skeletal Larry hunching in the dark corner of the room. They can only see Larry through the camera. Against everybody's protests, Byron snatches the tablet from Oliver and continues reading the story, which ends with a question. Will you be Larry's friend? To show the boys there's nothing in the corner, Byron walks to the corner and is suddenly attacked. Everybody screams, and Sarah, finally up from her slumber, rushes to save Byron. The boys' parents arrive in the middle of the night to pick them up, and when they try to ask Byron what happened, he can't bring himself to say anything as he's in shock. One of the other kids, however, blames Oliver and calls him a freak. Oliver tries telling Sarah it wasn't him the best way he can, but she's too stressed to understand him. The next day, as Sarah is replacing the light bulbs in the living room that blew during the sleepover, Oliver's tablet turns on by itself and catches her attention, and she starts to read Larry's story. The lights in another room start to flicker, Larry's MO, when someone starts to read about him. Sarah goes to check out the disturbance, but when she returns to the living room, all of the lamps have bulbs and all the lampshades are back on. Sarah immediately grabs a knife, thinking someone is in the house. Larry then says to her through the tablet, "Say goodbye to Oliver." She yells at the voice to stay away from her son, but when Larry says he'll take Oliver, repeating the word take over and over, Sarah freaks out and rushes to Oliver's school. She pulls him out of class, stating a family emergency, and as they're leaving the school, she gets a call from Jennifer, Byron's mother, who asks for Sarah's help. Sarah arrives at Jennifer's house, where Jennifer explains that Byron hasn't talked for 2 days and hasn't been sleeping, which is why he's missed school. Oliver tries to apologize to Byron by playing a scene from SpongeBob when suddenly Byron speaks and says it was Larry who hurt him, absolving Oliver of the blame. Sarah is petrified because Byron explains everything she just experienced that morning, making her believe they're dealing with something more sinister. That night, Sarah and Oliver pack their bags to stay at Marty's, but before they leave, Oliver sees the light from his tablet turn on, and he sees through the tablet Larry moving. Oliver follows Larry to his room, where Larry invites Oliver to come with him. But when Sarah calls Oliver's name, Larry disappears and they soon leave the house. Sarah tells Marty about what she experienced and shows him a picture of Larry that Oliver drew. But Marty has a hard time believing their story, so he asks her to rest for the night while he takes Oliver with him to work. Marty lets Oliver help him with processing parking tickets and talks to him about nightmares not being real. He takes Oliver's tablet and reads the first line of Larry's story when suddenly the lights start flickering. But Marty doesn't take the hint and keeps reading further, which states that once someone takes Larry's hand, they'll never be alone again. Suddenly, the lights go out, and while Marty tries to fix the light, Oliver takes from Marty's bag a laser tape measure and keeps himself busy when the device suddenly measures an invisible Larry approaching him. Larry stops a few feet away, but Marty soon comes and grabs Oliver, as standing in the middle of the parking lot is dangerous. But Oliver tries to show him that Larry is there and switches on the tablet's camera. To calm Oliver, Marty agrees to look through the camera and finds a figure staring back at him from behind. Larry has grabbed Oliver, but Marty somehow manages to get his son away from the ghoulish Larry and runs back home. Shaken and questioning his decision not to trust Sarah earlier, he tries to wrap his head around what the monster Larry wants from his son. They put their heads together and realize that Larry can't reach them and his only window is the screens through which he interacts with them. So they decide to destroy the tablet, which enrages Larry. Thinking that their worries are over, the family returns to their lives. At school, Oliver and Byron talk after a long time, and Oliver tells Byron his parents destroyed the tablet. They reconcile and become friends again after realizing their friendship ended because of an argument their mothers had. After a few nights, Marty is working when he gets attacked by Larry. Marty somehow escapes to his car, but Larry follows him and attacks him again, making his car crash. Back home, Sarah gets a call about Marty's accident. He's hurt badly with multiple fractures and is admitted to the hospital. Before she can ask for details, she starts hearing creepy sounds, which makes Sarah throw away her phone. As she starts getting rid of any old phone she has in the house, the TV switches on by itself and starts playing Larry's story, with the story ending with a picture depicting Larry taking Oliver to his world. Sarah won't allow it, so she starts destroying every screen and all the electronics in the house. Meanwhile, Oliver starts panicking, which makes Sarah yell at him, but she soon apologizes and tells him that she's stressed because Larry hurt Marty. Suddenly, all the lights start going off one by one, and Larry makes his way out of the discarded screens because the story's end has given him access to manifest in the real world and move around without the help of screens. Sarah and Oliver run and hide under Oliver's bed, where Oliver confronts her for lying to him about Byron and taking away the only friend he had. Sarah apologizes and says she did it to protect herself. Just then, Larry arrives in the room looking for them, and just when they think they'll make it, Oliver utters his first word, field, and starts repeating it, attracting Larry's attention. Sarah grabs Oliver and runs, but Oliver stops and grabs a baseball bat to destroy the light bulbs that seem to be providing energy to Larry. Once all the light bulbs are destroyed, Larry gets weak, and they run to the field where there's no electricity, making it difficult for Larry to reach them. They think they're safe, but to their horror, Larry reaches them through Oliver's phone in the bushes that Byron had thrown some days back. Larry chases them through the field until they get separated, and Larry gets hold of Oliver, dragging him through the woods. He stops after a while and extends his hand toward Oliver, saying, "Friends." Oliver doesn't understand and is about to take Larry's hand, but is stopped by Sarah, who takes Larry's hand instead. She adds that she'll be his friend because they both have the same objective, protecting Oliver. In her final moments, Oliver looks Sarah in the eyes, something he never did, making Sarah happy before her face becomes distorted and Larry drags her with him into Oliver's phone. Oliver is left alone, crying. Some days later, Oliver starts speaking slowly during his speech therapy session and now lives with Marty, who's still recovering from his injuries. At school, Oliver and Byron include one of the kids into their BFF group who was at Oliver's sleepover who also saw Larry, so no one stays alone and friendless like Larry. Even now, Oliver feels a presence, but he doesn't get scared because this time it's Sarah. One night when Marty hears Oliver laughing, he walks downstairs to the living room where he sees Oliver spinning and floating, and upon looking through his phone, sees Sarah playing with Oliver while making a promise that she'll protect him. That's a recap for today's horror dose of Come Play. Want to keep the scares coming? Join our Recaps of Fear family, hit subscribe to dodge Larry's spooky invites, and ding that notification bell for your next horror movie recap adventure.